everyone. My name is Yunus, President of Association of Science, Technology, Innovation. Today we're going to go through the competition that we're organizing, Reinventing a Better World Post-COVID-19, specifically on social well-being and mental health. Right. So it's going to be a short briefing, just to give you an idea on what we are trying to achieve with this competition. Basically, what we are trying to do is try to get young people, like yourself, to give ideas on how you see the world post-COVID-19 now. Because of COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown and all that, there's a lot of issues that are coming up, especially in areas of mental health and social well-being now. So the social structure of society has changed because of the lockdown. So we want to hear from you on your experience and also on what you think can be a solution for the kind of problems that post-COVID-19, COVID-19 has created, but also problems that were already there before. But we see an opportunity with the rebuilding of various government structures and non-government sectors, and even businesses, on how they can rebuild after COVID-19, rebuild it to a better world now, so that it's more equitable and more fair, and younger people, and including older people, old and young, those who deserve to be helped are helped, those who deserve to get opportunities are given opportunities, and stuff like that. So that's basically the whole idea of this competition. Now, it is a journal type competition, so unlike the other competitions that we run, like Young Inventors Challenge, or Science Fair, or even the Feynman Challenge, this is a journal competition. So in both cases, so you either do a paper journal, you write a paper, or you do a video. But the video also will be a video journal. So whenever you're writing a journal, one of the most important things that you should keep in mind is everything that you say must be backed up by evidence. By the evidence on an experiment that you do, or it could be evidence from different articles or papers or research that other people have done. So anything, basically everything that you say must have evidence. So like the Feynman Challenge, right? The Feynman Challenge is another competition that we run. So the one you're supposed to come up with a scientific principle, let's say the third law of Newton, and you're supposed to explain it, right? So we do not need evidence that, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? Because this is a well-known fact. This has been known for hundreds of years, ever since Isaac Newton came up with this law, right? But here, in the case of journal, you're always at the frontier of knowledge. So something which is new, so new that it's still being developed. So that means the ideas are either at its infancy, so it's something which is extremely new, or ideas which are there, which are available in the world, but they are not well known. So not many people know about it, right? So that's the difference between this particular competition and the other competition that we run. So the other competition are, like the Feynman Challenge is about things that you already know, basic scientific principles. But for this, it's something which is very new. So since you are making something new, or since you are saying something new, or since you're inventing something, depending on your paper or your video, you have to show evidence that it works, or you have to show evidence that it has worked elsewhere. So that is the most important aspect that we are looking for in the competition now, right? So today, the briefing, I'm just going to, actually everything that you need to participate in this competition and to write your papers are all here in the website. So I'll just show you the website. Right? This is the website, if you can see, right? So let me just read it out. I'm sure you may not have been able to see the writing. It's www.asti.org.my/post-COVID_social, right? So that is the website, the website link. Or you can even go to our website, www.asti.org.my, and below there under news, there's you click on this thing, post-COVID-19, it'll bring you straight to this website, okay? So I'm just going to go through this website very quickly. right? So at first you'll see the timelines. First you have to register, then the briefing session, which is happening now, and then the paper submission proposals, and then the proposals are reviewed by the judges, and then the judges will shortlist the papers, the based on the abstract that you send us. The judges will shortlist and then request you for a full paper, right? That's when you start writing a paper, right? And then you write a full paper. The reason why we're doing this is because we want to make sure that, because writing a paper is a lot of work. Because remember I told you there's a lot of evidence that's needed and all that. So we want to make sure that your ideas are good and worth doing the research on, right? So that you don't spend too much time writing the paper and then submitting and then seeing that it's not pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Because what your paper is supposed to do, or even your video is supposed to do, is push the boundaries of knowledge. So that our judges will know where the boundaries of knowledge at the moment. So they'll tell you that based on the abstract, they'll give you some feedback on things that you should change, or more things that you should be looking at, or different things that you should be looking at. And then they'll give you a feedback. And then based on that, you start writing your paper, start doing your research and writing your paper. So that's why we have this process. So then you have to submit the paper, right? And then it's marked by the judges. And then you'll be called for an online viva. So certain teams will be shortlisted and you'll be called for an online viva where the judges will go through your paper or your video and ask you questions. And you should be able to answer because you have done all the research, right? So you should be able to answer things which are not even in your paper. Because the things that are right in the paper, we would already assume that you have done the research for it, right? So the judges will be asking you, even broader questions. So to show that you have actually done the research and not just done a cut and paste kind of job, right? Which is quite common these days, right? And then in February we will announce the winners, right? And if we get enough papers and the papers are of good quality and the videos are of good quality, we will actually turn your papers, put it all together and turn it into a book and then publish it to share it with everyone, your ideas and what are the kind of solutions that you have come up with, right? So the dates are all here, again, the website, go through the website. We are still following the dates except for the briefing is supposed to happen the first week of September, but we are only doing it now. So only that date is slightly different, but all the other dates are still same. Now, let me see now, first week, yeah. So all the other dates are same. The briefing, we actually postponed the briefing to this day because we want to make sure there's enough participants here. So we're still getting participants, people registering and all that. And that's one of the reasons why we pushed back the registration now, okay? Right. So now I'm going through this one. Then if you go down the website, you've got the poster, and then you got the registration forms, and then you got the various press notes, paper writing guidelines. So there's a module on paper writing guidelines, a general idea on how you write papers, right? An academic style paper. And then we got the terms and condition, right? Which is very important. Please make sure you read the terms and condition before participating, because these are the general rules. You don't want to get disqualified. So to make sure we are quite lenient, but just in case, it's better you read the terms and condition to see that you don't accidentally go out of topic and get disqualified. Yeah. Okay. Now we got the Inventors Journal modules, right? The next section, which is many modules. We got module 1, 2, and 3, which is how to write an academic style paper. Module 2 is general guide on our paper writing competition. Module 3 is guide to form a research problem statement, right? Because now you're doing a research, you're writing a paper, you're going into detail on the kind of research that need to be done. And in scientific, the scientific method, before you do a research to find a solution, you must clearly identify what is the problem. And the problem must be identified very, very clearly. Because if the problem is not identified correctly or not identified clearly, specifically, because there is a need for specific, to be specific, right, in scientific type papers, or even academic style papers, not just science, even in social sciences, you have to be very specific in your problem statement. So there is a guide on how to come up with this particular problem statement, because if you don't get the problem statement right, then the entire process goes off. So make sure you go through the module 3, which is how to come up with a problem statement. Then we got module 4, right? So this is module 4. I just printed up module 4. This is module 4. So please go through this. It's optional. This is a module that we created to give you an idea on a particular, on the kind of research that you can do, or the kind of papers you can write, or the kind of videos that you can do, right? So it's very broad. So we just gave 1 or 2 examples here. Do not use this as a way to box yourself in, right? These are this thing. Don't box yourself in. This is just an example, right? To show what are the kind of questions that you need to ask. There's a lot of questions here. We are talking about affordable housing. So when it comes to social, one example we gave for social housing or some affordable housing. And there are many questions you can ask. So all of them are here. Now in your paper, you don't have to answer all those questions. You can choose 1 or 2 questions only, because your paper is only going to be 5 pages long. So if you want to answer all these questions, it's going to be a book, right? So we gave a lot of examples, but and there were even other questions that you can ask, but you have to choose 1 question or 2 questions at the most, which are related. So the problem statement must be specific and 1 problem. And when you come up with a solution, per paper, we only are looking for 1 solution. So 1 problem, 1 solution. Now let's say you have 1 problem and you have many ideas. Let's say you got 5 or 6 solutions, ideas for 5 or 6 solutions. No problem. You just submit 5 different papers. We allow up to 3, I think. Check the terms and condition. I think we allow up to 3 papers per team, I think. I'm not sure, please check. Please check the terms and condition, but we do allow. But if you are really enthusiastic and you want to change around and bring in new members and all that, again, always, when in doubt, call us or text us or email us, and we will be able to answer you specifically any questions that you have in terms of the terms and condition, right? So here's an example. So one is the example here for social issues we chose was affordable housing. A lot of people are homeless now. It's one of the biggest problems of homelessness in say places like Kuala Lumpur or Manila, or even Los Angeles, New York. The so-called developed nations even have got massive housing issues and homelessness issues. One of the reasons is because of inadequate affordable housing, and therefore a lot of people go homeless, right? So that is an example of a social problem, right? And then we also gave an example, right, on mental health, right? On mental health, we gave another example related to mental health. So please have a look at those also. Again, it's only 1 example. Don't keep this as your, don't box yourself in, basically. So this is just an example. Please go through module 4 and it'll give you an idea on how broad your ideas can be. Like mental health, for example, one of the ideas we gave here is, using art. Using art, drawing or music, or learning to play the guitar even, to help someone who's like depressed. There are a lot of studies out there on just learning to play the guitar, right, can help this thing. So you can come up with a special program on learning music or drawing or stuff like that. So that could be a solution. So we're not looking for a psychiatric, very, like you have to learn psychology and have a PhD in psychology to come up with a solution, not necessarily, right? You could be an artist, or you could be something that you could be a footballer. Footballer is excellent for social well-being. For communities to come together. Football is a good way to bring communities together and stuff like that, right? So please think out of the box, come up with solutions, and then write your paper or do your video, but make sure you have evidence. Everything must be reference. Or if you're doing an experiment or you're doing a survey, that means you are gathering evidence on your own. That means you're not going to website and just finding out the evidence. That means you yourself are creating evidence. Then you must clearly explain how you got your evidence. Was it by a survey? How do you come up with the survey questions and stuff like that? So all this is important, right? So now we're going to types of paper, which is module 5 onwards, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, I think. Yeah. So from module 5 to 9 is all the different kind of papers that you can write, or videos, right? Remember, the word, whenever you see the word paper and video can be used interchangeably, right? The only difference between paper and video is paper, you are writing something. In a video, you are saying something. You are presenting the paper, but you do not submit the paper, right? That's the only difference, right? So module 5 is the oral guide on writing an academic paper. Sorry, module 5, oral guide for writing an academic paper. Module 6 is a guide to write policy papers. Policy papers are normally for governments or big corporations. Even big corporations have got policies, company policy and stuff like that. So you can write a policy paper, right? So which is normally for governments or large corporations. You can write a review paper. Now, review paper is interesting. Review paper is basically, there are a lot of research done, a lot of papers out there. What you do is, in a review paper, you take 10 or 15 papers or 15 articles or 15 research that's already out there. You bring it together, you synthesize and come up with your own idea based on these 15 papers, right? So that is a review paper, right? Or you can even criticize. You can take an example, let's say 5 different papers, and you can do a critique. You can say these are good papers, but we feel that this should have been the conclusion. So you can even challenge the writers that you are referencing, right? Not necessarily you must follow. You can challenge, but again, when you challenge, you must show proof on why you think you are right and the writer is not right. Okay, so that is review paper. Then you have technical research paper. Now, technical research paper is where you do an experiment. So you do an experiment, or you do a survey, stuff like that. Where this is where you're actually collecting data, and then when you collect data, you need to analyze it, come up with a system to analyze it, be it statistics or whatnot. And in your paper, you must explain how you collect the data, how you analyze the data, and how you come to your conclusion, right? You discuss the data and this. So this is a normal science or social science type paper, which is the technical research paper. So again, you can download and get more information on that. And then this is a new paper that is very uncommon. It's not out there actually. In fact, I think we are one of the few organizations that have created this kind of paper, which is called invention innovation paper. So this is where you have invented something which can help either on social issues or on mental health. You have invented something. So in here, if your invention is so new, you don't have reference ready because it's so new. Nobody has done anything about it. So in your paper, the more you can do some references on how you came up with that particular invention. That one you can have reference, but the invention itself won't have much reference because you have invented something new, right? So in this case, you must detail the invention. How does it work? If it is a particular invention like this pen, you must explain the measurements and stuff like that, right? Or it could be an invention, let's say a game. You invented a game, a board game, right? Or it could be a football type game, a physical game. So you must explain the rules. How does the game work? So the rules and procedures of playing that game, and how does that game solve the problem statement that you have come up with, right? So you have to explain that. That's very important, right? So that's module 9, we're done. And then we got module 10, 11. This is how to write an abstract, right? Because abstract is very important in a paper, which is basically a summary of the key findings of your paper. And then how to use reference manager. So this is EndNote and Mendeley software. So that one you can have a look, and then so that's that. And then we've got something on video category for the video, more specific for the video category, which is module 12 and 13, is how to do a video, how to actually come up with a video, and then how to upload into YouTube. Because your submission is via YouTube, you have to submit your submission via YouTube. So there's guidelines on how to submit your papers, your videos, that's all that, right? So that's basically the briefing. I think we've come to the end of the briefing, right? We hope, as I said, so by you participating in this competition, we hope it's not about winning; it's always the journey, right? So we hope that you will learn, like how I learned when I was doing my PhD, because we had to write papers and all that. When I was writing papers, I had to learn discipline, and be very careful of everything that I say. It means that everything I say must be evidence. In today's world with social media and all that, people just say whatever they want to say, right, without evidence. So we want to make sure that we have evidence for what we say, and we are careful with the words we use now. It means our words become valuable, right? So that's what we are hoping that you, in this journey, you learn. That is one of the most important things that you learn from this particular competition as opposed to the other competition. So you learn discipline, and you learn a structured way of thinking and structured way of writing or coming up with a video, and not just a simple video, but a video which is evidence and all that. Right. So with that, I think I'll end. I think I've already spoken too long. We hope for your registration soon. Just a quick note, so you have to register first, right? So the end of registration is the 10th of October, right? And then from 14 onwards, you can already start sending us your proposal for the judges to review, right? So so you can even register on that day, and 3 days later on the 14th, you send us your proposal. We will mark. The judges will go through it and mark it and give you some ideas, right? To make your papers, more rigid, more more solid, so to speak, right? After which you can then start writing your paper or doing a video, right? But whatever the case, if there's any questions after this briefing, please do write to us or call us, and we are happy to answer your questions. So with that, thank you, and we look forward to your papers. I personally look forward to watching your videos and reading your papers. So good luck, and as I said, let's build or rebuild a better world of post-COVID-19. And we hope that you will join us in this journey of building a better world. Thank you.